couple of years ago, a very talented young lady named Bethany Reynolds created a technique called stack and whack. What you'll do is, instead of cutting each diamond individually, by stacking your fabric up first into 8 layers deep, with one simple cut, you will end up with 8 diamonds that all came from the same portion of the fabric. Let me show you what I'm talking about. Let's move this out of the way. This is a layer of fabric. It's a beautiful large-scale print. It's got these great feathers on it. What I did was I made 8 sections of fabric that were all cut from the same basic shapes. Now, they don't match exactly along the edges, but they're basically from the same portion of the design on the fabric print. I use pinning to go through different points, the tip of a leaf or the V of something, and I go through it, all 8 layers, with a pin, getting it lined up as closely as I can, and then putting it together with pins. Once you've done that, handle this very, very gently, because you've done a nice job of stacking them so that they're all in alignment. What I'm going to do next, so that we can see the cutting on this, let me just flip this over. So we're going to be able to see the lines a little better on the fabric. And now what I'm going to do is choose a section and simply cut a diamond shape. Pick the size of the shape, pick the size of the diamond that I want to cut. And I don't know if I said this yet, but the size of the diamond that I cut is actually the same size that's listed for the diamond strip in the instructions. So if I'm making a 6-inch block, my Lemoyne Star instructions tell me to cut a 2-inch diamond. So if I want to, a 2-inch strip. So if I want to make a 2-inch fussy cut Lemoyne Star, I have to cut a 2-inch diamond. So if the instructions tell me a 2 3/4-inch strip, I'm going to cut a 2 3/4-inch diamond to make the corresponding size. So I know 6-inch blocks call for 2-inch strips. So to make a 6-inch block out of this, I'm going to cut a 2-inch diamond. I'm going to find an area where I can position and cut a 2-inch diamond. I'm looking at my 2-inch diamond here and here. And when I position this on here, I notice that there's a pin right here. I have to be aware of where they are, because I do not want to mess up this rotary cutting blade by cutting through a pin. So very carefully, I'm going to just peel this back, and I'm going to remove from underneath, without any movement of the fabric, remove that pin and put it off to the side. Position this back into place so I can cut a 2-inch diamond. I'm looking here and I'm looking here. I'm going to be able to get a 2-inch diamond out of this section to make a 6-inch block. Trim here and trim here. Instead of moving my fabric, because this is what I'm focusing on most, I'm going to turn my mat, and I'm positioning those 2-inch guidelines here and here, and I'm going to cut, and I'm going to cut. And what I'm going to have with one cut from the Lemoyne Star, I'm going to have 8 diamonds. And just like that, you're going to have a kaleidoscopic Lemoyne Star. Now remember, you've got options. One of the things that you should do before you assemble is think about rearranging those diamonds into, and all I'm doing here is rotating the diamonds so that the other point is on the inside, because the pieces will look very different depending on what's in the center and what's toward the outside point. And again, think about this. Maybe what I want to do is turn every other one around from outside to inside to give me something else. Now that one doesn't quite have that same kaleidoscopic feel, but depending on what you're using, you might like that effect as well. Now, let me show you how easy it is to take these fussy cut diamonds and build your Lemoyne Star blocks. So once you have your fussy cut diamonds, you're ready to build your block. We have to talk a little bit about the background pieces. You're not going to be able to strip piece this like you normally do with the rapid fire Lemoyne Star techniques. We're going to have to build it the old-fashioned way. The size of the background pieces, they're going to be triangles. They come from the chart that's in the ruler. So if the chart tells you to cut a 3 1/4 inch strip, you are going to cut a 3 1/4 inch strip, but then each one of those strips is going to be cut into a square. Now, these squares that you cut, you're going to need a total of 8 squares. Each of those squares is going to be cut into 2 triangles, a center triangle and side triangles. But we're not going to simply cut the squares in half. If you can look at the square here, what you'll see is there's a dashed line that it goes right from point to point, corner to corner on my square. What I actually want to cut is a slightly smaller triangle and a slightly larger triangle. So I'm going to take a ruler that has a 1/4 inch line on it, and I'm going to put the 1/4 inch on the corners of the square. So I'm going to cut across this way to give me triangles that are slightly different in size. I have slightly larger triangles and slightly smaller triangles. Now, what we have to do is stack. Give me a second and I'll start to get to there. I am taking my stack of fussy cut diamonds and I'm dividing them into 2 sections. I'm dividing them into 4 fussy cut diamonds in one, 4 fussy cut diamonds in the other. Once I've done that, I'm going to come back with my triangles, my large triangles, those are these, and my small triangles, and position them right side up on my surface. Each of the large triangles, when I separate it out, those are going to become the center diamonds. These are going to be the triangles. They're going to be sewn to the diamonds, and they're going to create the center seam of your Lemoyne star section. You would have 4 on this side and 4 on this side. You will also then take the side triangles are going to fit on the other sides of these diamonds. I think by separating them out like this, you can kind of see what I'm talking about. There's more information on this on your instructions. And what you're going to have to do is you're going to have to build your Lemoyne star sections the old-fashioned way, with triangles and diamonds, not that strip piecing technique that you can do for the rest of the Lemoyne star. Do them one at a time. I would take these sections, flip this over, stitch those, take these and stitch those to create, let's move these unstitched ones out of the way, a section that looks like this. The section here, I generally do that center triangle first, the triangle that's going to be in the center, stitch that there, fold it out, and stitch this here and fold it out. Remember, you don't have to fuss a whole lot with alignment here other than raw edges being aligned, because everything is going to be a little bigger than it needs to be. Once I have my sections sewn and pressed, what I'm going to do is use my Lemoyne star ruler to trim them down to a very precise size to build my 12-inch block. I'll turn it, rotate my ruler, line up the guidelines on my ruler, the 12-inch here and the 12-inch here, as closely as I can, come back with my cutter, trim here and trim here, and I am going to have pieces that are now exactly the right size, that are going to fit together beautifully to build a 12-inch block, and everything is going to look incredible. So if you don't have my Lemoyne star ruler, head to your local quilt shop, head to our website and pick it up. Learn how to use that most important center end, but then give it a try. Do some fussy cutting, find an interesting fabric, and make some fussy cut Lemoyne stars of your own.